You're listening to Life with Herpes, and this is episode 75. I am your host, Alexandra Harbushka, and as always, I am thrilled, grateful, honored, blessed to be here with you. Thank you for spending your day with me. Well, not your day, but the next couple minutes with me and sharing your time with me. I truly appreciate that. I love being here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, I had a hiccup. Also, I want to thank you for subscribing, rating, reviewing to this podcast. It means so much to the future people who are not yet diagnosed or don't know about this podcast yet or don't know about this community yet. So I just want to thank you for being a subscriber, being a rating, leaving a review, commenting in YouTube. It helps organically promote the podcast. And that is where most people find this community. They find Life with Herpes through the podcast and through YouTube. So thank you for doing that. It truly helps the algorithm on the back end. So thank you. All right. So what's worse, oral herpes or genital herpes? Now, if you would have asked me this question before I had either herpes, I would have said both are bad, but I would take oral, right? And the reasons I think would have been because everybody has it and it's no big deal. And it's not really herpes, they're just fever blisters. So it's not really herpes. It's just like a cold sore. When you're stressed, you get this. It's not herpes. Now, fast forwarding to having a community called Life with Herpes, I absolutely, and having both, in case you don't know, I do have both. I have oral and genital. I talk about it in many different podcasts, most recently the one, I think 71 when I got married, and then I also talk about it in episode 1 about being diagnosed with both. So you can go back to those and listen or watch. It's so interesting how being diagnosed with genital herpes is devastating. Your life is over. You will never get married. You will never be successful. No one's ever going to love you. You're going to be tainted. You're going to be a scarlet letter. You're going to be the scum. You're going to be like the person that walks into the room and nobody wants to touch. You're a leper. That is the mindset that goes through your mind when you are diagnosed with genital herpes. Now, when you're diagnosed with oral herpes, it's a completely different situation. Having been diagnosed with both, I remember I was still angry to get oral herpes. I was angry when the guy kissed me with an outbreak. Why would you do that to anybody? I was angry. But I also was like, oh, well, it's not genital herpes. I don't have an STD. I'm STD clear. I'm a good girl. Back to the good girl thing. I'm a good girl. We're good to go. I was mad, yeah, because now I had to think about it for the rest of my life and worry about transmitting it. And what if I kissed somebody, or what if I gave it to them, or whatever was in my mind at that time. But I can remember thinking, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Everybody has it, and it's not that big of a deal. Having just had my first oral outbreak in 14 years, 14. I hope it's another 14 years. Like if that's my life cycle, great. I will not complain. But 14 years of not having an oral outbreak, I got it. And if you listen to episode 71, I was just getting married. I got married with an outbreak on my mouth. Big outbreak on my mouth. There's pictures in that episode and everything. And I have to say that was probably the most embarrassing situation. I felt extremely uncomfortable in my own skin. I did not feel beautiful. I did not feel like I was worthy of love. I did not feel like I could hug my husband, kiss my husband, be Alexandra, be natural, be who I am, be happy and all that natural who I naturally am. I didn't feel like I could be that person because I had this big, I think it was on this side, I had this big outbreak. And it was really disappointed that I did the best that I could to not let it run my life or control my life with getting married. Like, how exciting is that? I did everything I could to discard it, but it was still there, visible on my face. I could not cover it up. I could not hide it. I could not go around it. It was there. It was right there on my face. I got a facial like a day before the wedding. Well, like a week after. So I had two weddings. I had a wedding in Tucson and I had a wedding in Cabo. You can hear all about it in another episode, but it had been maybe 10 days since I had the initial outbreak. So I was in the clear. So I got a facial. Note to self, if you do have oral herpes, do not get facials. Do not go to the dentist. Just keep that area to yourself. Don't do those, don't try on lipsticks, whatever. Just keep that area really clean. So I waited 10 days and I told the facialist, I said, hey, I had an outbreak. You can still see a little bit of scarring. It didn't scar, but you could tell, like maybe pigmentation that hadn't all gone away. I said, look, I think it's healed, but I'm going to leave it up to you if you're okay with this. She goes, oh my goodness, thank you so much for telling me. Gosh, there's so many people that don't tell me, and then I have to cancel on them mid facial because it's dangerous for both of us, right? So it was already healed, but she and I were talking, and she goes, I suffered the facialist. She goes, I suffered from horrible cystic acne. I said, ooh, me too. I did too in my 20s. And she goes, well, you wouldn't be able to tell now. And I said, well, yeah, I worked through that. She goes, that is our body's sign of like, hey, I've been trying to get your attention and I'm going to now put it on your fucking face so you see it. And for whatever reason, my body wanted my attention. Actually, I know why my body wanted my attention. I had been on the go, on the move, back to back. I went to Paris, as you remember. Then I was out. We have a nonprofit, and I was volunteering with our nonprofit, which takes a lot out of you. Then right after that, I went to Las Vegas with my girlfriends. In the middle of all that, I got a cold and I got married. So my body was like, whoa, Alexandra, I've been telling you to slow down. Oh, and I got an outbreak, a genital outbreak while I was in Paris. I mean, I got all that. I got a cold, I got an outbreak, and it decides, let's put it on your face so that we tell you to slow down. Like, you're not listening, and let me put it here so that you really do slow down. Back to what's worse, oral or genital. I mentioned, and again, I told the whole story of getting the outbreak in episode 71, but I actually ran into the guy that kissed me. I ran into him with the outbreak, and I said, look at, this is what I have to deal with when I'm getting married. Thanks a lot. And he said, well, it's at least it's not, I didn't give you the genital kind. And I said, it's the same thing. Like, to him, it's the same thing. He goes, no, it's not. I said, yes, it is. It's the exact same thing. There's no difference. You gave it to me up here and someone else gave it to me down there. Period, the end. It's the same thing. It is the same virus. Yes, one is HSV1, one is HSV2, but it's the same thing. You get outbreaks. You get herpes. You have herpes. I have to say, knowing what I know, I'd rather have genital herpes than oral herpes. It was so uncomfortable for me. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to see people. And when you're just wilted, your spirit, your everything is just wilted. I was wilted. I was angry and I was wilted. I was dying on the vine with this whole thing. I really was. I was angry. I was wilted. And looking at it, what would I rather have? I'd rather have genital herpes. And here's why. No one knows you have it but you, right? No one knows. Like, no one sees it. You're not walking around, with your cock out. maybe you are, but in general, you're not, right? Unless you live in a nudist colony. But most of society wears clothes. So you're clothed. No one knows. There are a lot more home remedies and antivirals that at least, that they can kick it fast, that can soothe the pain, things of that nature. And again, I think it just goes back to nobody knows you have it. You can go through life, you can go through your day at work, you can go out, you can go do things, and nobody knows you have it. Yes, you have to disclose to a sexual partner, absolutely. But like when you're out to lunch with someone and they see that you have a cold sore and they're like, oh, can I have a bite of your, and they're like, oh, never mind. You know it's because of your cold sore, and that hurts. That like, that like, it's embarrassing. It hurts. So I absolutely believe that I would pick genital herpes or over oral herpes. Yeah, for me, I'd much rather have that. I was so embarrassed, and my phone's ringing, and I'm going to silence that. I forgot to silence it. Oh no. I would absolutely rather have genital herpes because it's your little secret, Now, society does not judge oral herpes as bad as genital herpes. Of course, this is kind of the oxymoron. I think I'm using that word correctly if I remember from 7th grade. The oxymoron here is society thinks it's better to have oral herpes, yet really I think it's better to have genital herpes. There is the stigma, yeah, but you're the only one you're the only one that knows it. Where you walk around with a big thing on your lip, everybody knows. Food for thought. Think about it. What would you rather have? Would you rather have oral or genital? Maybe you're lucky like me and have both. Or maybe you just have one. I don't know. Unless you tell me, of course. But yeah, when you have a genital outbreak, it's between you and your partner. And hopefully you're at the point with your partner where you can have those conversations and be like, sweetheart, I love you. I'm not able to do this right now. Let's get creative. Let's do something else. Or hey, it'll be great. Let's do something else, and it'll make it that much better when we do it. We appreciate it more. I'll tell you that. I appreciate it much more when I have to say no. I truly appreciate the ability, like when the outbreak heals, it's like, yes, guess what we're gonna do tonight, So it's exciting. It makes it exciting. All right. I'm going to go. I just want to give you some food for thought. Think about it. Let me know what you think. Please, please, please let me know. I am really curious to hear your thoughts. And I have gotten a lot of responses on this in general, like, oh, it's way worse to have one or way worse to have the other. So this was in our community. I talked about it in the Slack group. I showed pictures. It was interesting to get the balance of people like, oh, well, it's way worse to have this or way worse to have that. So I'm curious to what you think. I personally think it's way worse to have oral than genital. All right, my friend, much, much, much love to you. Thank you for being a part of our community. If you are not, oh my goodness, if you're not, where are you? Come join us. Go to lifewithherpes.com. I would love to meet you, get to know you as well. And have you become a member. It is free. You get a lot of cool shit, and you get to join our uber duper super secret Slack group that keeps the community. It's a place for you to thrive. It's a place for you to connect. It's a place for you to ask questions. I'm in there daily. And I'm connecting with our community daily over there. So go to lifewithherpes.com, sign up, join. You get free ebooks, you get discounts, you get, a lot. All right, much love. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for taking me on this journey with you, and I will see you